Joke. So just remember, as you go through your practice, even though this is a gentle practice, it's always important not to go to your end range, really, in any practice. So if you're at the point where I'm telling you to stretch your arm and you're like, oh, I can almost get it a little bit further, you're probably already too far. So, and respect any injury that you have, even if it means only doing something on one side or adding props as necessary. We are going to start lying down. And just so you know, if you get really tired and feel really mellow, you can have the Shavasana for half the class if you like. But come to lying down. And if you need something under your head, place something under your head. And you can have your legs straight or your knees bent, whatever you prefer. I'll stay seated for a while because this way I can see you all a little better, at least those of you who have your screens on. So when you come to lying down, just get a little comfortable. And sometimes one of the best ways to de-stress and decompress literally is to take time, the end of the day or throughout the day, is just to lie on a firm but comfortable surface. Let go, breathe, and maybe do a little bit of observation. As you're lying here, notice if there's any place in the body that calls out to you with complaints, then just notice that. Notice if there's any stiffness that calls out. Notice if it feels like a huge relief to be giving yourself permission just to come to lying down. Take padding under your head if you need it. If you don't, you could just have your head on your sticky mat. And just to see what kind of tension you might be carrying in your neck, because of course we never have tension in our neck, right? Take a very small, not a full, a small slow turn of your head to either side. And just notice when you get to that side, if you feel tension in the opposite shoulder. Don't try to force your head down, but imagine your head was kind of like a water bubble and half filled. And now that your head is turned to one side, the water is going to slosh over to that side. And just notice if that maybe releases the head a little bit more. No pushing, no effort from you. And then slowly ease your head back to center, pause. And then when you're ready, take a small, slow turn of your head to the other side and imagine that this water, liquidy stuff in your head is weighted down on that side, just to give yourself maybe a little more comfort, a little more ease into the turn of the head, but without forcing, without using your muscles. And then bring your head back to center. And also for a moment, you can just notice if there's any body part or any muscle that's really working, that it's working even here lying on the floor. And see if you can let go voluntarily of any tension and activity you don't need. If it's comfortable for you, that's a very important if. For a few moments, take your legs out straight. Now, for some of us, that causes the low back to curve more. So if that doesn't work for you, keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor. But you could take your legs out straight and just notice how you feel there. Do you feel, for example, that your body's really even from right to left? Does one leg feel more turned out than another? Does one leg feel longer? And these are just observations. We all have idiosyncrasies in our body at one time or another. And then you could keep your legs out straight if that's comfortable. If not, bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and bring your awareness to your upper back. And notice if all the weight is settled on top of the backs of your shoulders and you can really feel your shoulder blades, or if you feel the upper back and the mid back weighted down. Notice your low back curve. Does it feel the way it usually feels, the way it usually feels? Do you feel there's too much arch there or too much flatness? Notice whatever you notice. And then just be comfortable for a few moments. We're going to start stretching in a moment. I'm going to join with you. I don't think you'll need visuals, so I think you could just stay right where you are. But I'll just take a minute to plop myself down on the mat with you. Good. And when you're ready, do bend your knees, place your feet lightly on the floor. Ease in your neck. Make sure your chin isn't tipping up to the ceiling or dragging down and overstretching the back of your neck. Take your arms and place them palms down on your mat by your side and gently kind of suction cup your upper arms down to the mat. maybe giving yourself a little more spaciousness in your upper chest and your collarbones. Without force, take a natural breath here. In through the nose if you can, and out through the nose, feeling the spaciousness of the front of your upper chest. Now take your right arm and turn the palm to face your hip. So the thumb side of the hand would be looking toward the ceiling. Energize the arm. So instead of a floppy hanging out arm, we have an alert arm, but again, we're not trying to feel like we're tugging it out of its shoulder socket. We're just energetically reaching through the fingertips. You might feel some tensional pull. Moving incrementally, take your arm up a little bit at a time and see if you can get the arm so it's reaching right up to the ceiling. So the arm is perpendicular to the floor. If that's too much of a lift for you, have your arm lower and just notice how that feels there. And then bring that arm down, palm to the floor. Now turn your left arm so the thumb side of the hand is looking toward the ceiling, the pinky edge is down, and start lifting that energized arm incrementally up. The highest we're going for now is halfway with the arm in line with the shoulder. Good. And place that arm down, turn the palm down to the floor. Stretch your right leg out and actually just let the right leg hang out for a moment. So notice when you stretch that leg out there, it probably rolls out. The knee is probably pointing to the right. Now point your knee and the middle of your foot toward the sky. Energize your leg so you can push through the heel a little bit. And you want to feel that the hip crease in front of the right, on the right side, is kind of open. You can place your right hand there and you can feel that openness when we have a leg in this position, as opposed that we got a little crease on the left side because our knee is back. Energize that leg. Again, we're not forcing, we're just energizing it. And then release that, bend the right knee, bring that foot back in. Take the left leg out, let it just hang out for a moment, and then slowly start to energize that leg. Make sure the knee is looking up, a small flex to the ankle. You might notice that the big toe side of your foot feels like it's curling up to your inner thigh. Push through the big toe side of your foot. Energize that leg. Notice you could take your left hand and place it on front of your hip, and you'll feel that that left hip is a little open here because of the leg position. Bend the left knee, place that foot down. Take your right arm up again, halfway, right arm, palm facing to the left. And now spin your arm so the palm is forward and keep spinning it so the palm is looking toward the right. And don't force it to spin any more than it feels comfortable. So we're just exploring the range of motion, our shoulder joint, palm forward, palm over to the left. Now turn the palm to look behind you. And of course, that's turning the arm at the same time. Turn the palm forward, float the arm down, take the left arm up. So start with the palm, left arm, palm looking toward the left, the back of the hand looking over, sorry, your palm is looking to the right. And then start turning the arm so the hand looks forward, palm is forward. Now keep turning the arm so your palm is looking toward your left. And then turn the palm forward again. Spin the arm so the palm is looking to the right. And now spin the arm so the palm is looking toward the wall behind you. And again, don't force. And then spin the arm so the palm is forward, bring that arm down. Now we're going to just add a few little movements, some diagonal stretches. So we're going to start with the right arm and the left leg. Stretch your left leg out, keep it active, knee pointing up, right palm faces your hips, bring the right arm up to the point you were before. If it feels okay, you can start reaching your arm past shoulder height toward the floor. But again, explore and don't force. Inhale a breath here with both limbs extended comfortably. Exhale. Inhale again. And then exhale, bend the knee, bring the foot down, bring the right arm down, palm down. Extend your right leg now and your left arm. And remember, don't go to your end range, particularly, of course, with our arms, because the openness of your shoulder joints and the range of motion there is going to really, really differ. And just take a full breath here. And notice with the right leg extended, if you place your right hand there, again, you have that open hip on the right side, and then you have the hinge on the left side where the knee is bent. Good. And then bring the right leg back in and the left arm back down. One more time, each side, left leg, right arm. So we're breathing into the stretch, and then we're taking a full breath while we're there. So we spend a moment there, inhaling and exhaling, noticing and observing. And then bring the left foot down and the right arm down, second and last side, right leg, left arm. You might notice there's a lot more range of motion on one side than the other. You might notice a completely different experience. One leg might be able to stretch out straight, one might need to be pretty bent. And then when you're ready, bend the right knee, right foot down, left arm by your side. We're going to do one more movement here on the floor. We're going to do some pelvic tilt and tucks. So if you like, you can bring your hands into like a diamond shape, touching the thumbs together and touching the inner edges of your pointer fingers together. And this is just a guideline, and you place that so the fingertips are down by your pubic bone and the thumbs are up toward your belly button. Bend your knees, feet light on the floor. Inhale a breath, and as you exhale, tuck your pelvis. So you're going to think that the pubic bone is kind of rolling like a wave, and where your fingertips are is going to be higher where your thumbs are. Inhale here, and as you exhale, create your tuck. You can even push down a little bit in your 4 non-thumb fingers and send that area down. And now you might feel your low back curve is now back, whereas before the tucking decreases that curve. Inhale here. And when you're ready to exhale, create the tuck again. Pubic bone kind of rolls up a little bit, and you'll feel more of your low back and the back of your sacrum very connected to the floor. The next time you exhale, create your tilt, and you'll feel a little more weight on the tail, the pubic bone area lower than the area of the thumb, and more of your low back curve. And do 1 or 2 of these on your own. So we're exhaling to create the tuck, and we're exhaling to create the tilt, and in between we're exploring with the inhale. So the movement is on the exhale. And the next time in your experience of this activity, when you come to the tuck pelvis, pause there. Don't push into your feet. Don't involve your butt. Let the movement just be held by the muscles really in the lower part of your spine. And then release the tuck just a little bit. So you're not necessarily going full tilt, so to speak. You're just releasing the tuck a little bit, and then release your arms. And then stretch out your legs again. And just notice if just those few little things, we did 2 movements, these diagonal stretches and a pelvic tilt and tuck, and just notice if anything is different in the way you feel your body meeting the mat. Maybe you'll feel a little more calmness in your low back or a little more calmness in your upper back. If not, don't worry, we still have many more things left to help us get a little de-stressed. So when you're ready, ease over to your side and very slowly make your way up to a seated position. When you get there, be sure to add padding underneath your bottom if you feel you need that. And also, you don't have to sit cross-legged. You can sit with your legs in front of you. You can sit with the soles of the feet connected. And again, add props underneath you if you like. Make sure you're comfortable and take your arms out, just active enough so you can lightly reach into your fingertips, and your arms are, you look like almost a capital letter A. Good. Whatever position you've chosen for your legs, let your legs be a little soft. So see if you can surrender even if your legs are very slender, the muscles of our legs are pretty big and the bones are heavy. So see if you could surrender the weight of your leg muscles and the weight of your bones. And the next movement is not really a stretch. It's just a way to maybe create a little openness in the channels of our connective tissue. So I know, Lois, this will be very familiar to you. So your arms are still in the A shape. Now, tip your chin, rather your nose up just a little bit. So if someone looks at you and they see your whole neck, that means you tipped it up a little bit too much, okay? Now, bring your awareness to your right arm and just get a little more length there by energizing the arm. Think that below the elbow, that energy is reaching down, and above the elbow, that energy is reaching up. And then turn your head slowly part way to the left, keeping that tiny little lift of the nose as if you smelled something nice. some good cooking or a pretty floral scent. And again, we're not looking for a neck stretch here. If you feel it in your neck, you might be overdoing it a little bit, but you might feel some tensional pull along the length of your arm or in your collarbone. And then release that. Bring your head back to center, relax your arms, keep them in place, but let them go soft. And then second side. So find your A-shaped arms so they're a little bit energized. And then tip your nose up just a fraction and turn your head a smidgen now to the second side. Turn your head to the second side. Now, before you did your right arm, now you're doing your left arm. Energize that left arm. So the right arm is somewhat active, but the left arm is going to be super active, stretching from below the elbow to the fingertips and above the elbow up into the upper arm. We shouldn't be irritating the shoulder joint. Notice if you feel any tingling sensation or any pulling in the arm, a good pulling, not bad pulling, not a muscular pull, or maybe into the collarbone. Sometimes people even feel this in their cheek. And then slowly release your head, turn your head forward, relax your arms, pick up your arms and circle your wrists around a few times, roll them around or flutter your fingers, and then take your legs out in front of you and paddle if they weren't already and paddle them around a little bit. And then we're going to come onto hands and knees for a few movements. If you need padding under your knees, get a blanket or towel under there right away and make your way to tabletop position. And make sure in your table that you're not shortchanging your length. So if you need to, I'll give you an example of that here. My knees are too far forward and that's causing my spine to round. So you want to feel like you have a lot of room for the front of your torso. We're going to start some cat-cow variations, and many of you have done this with me or with other teachers. So this is not the usual cat-cow. The usual one is we inhale, we back bend, and we exhale, we round like some of our favorite animals, cats. So you can certainly do that if you like. I'm going to do a slight different variation. The inhale is the same. You take a small back bend from tail to crown. But as you exhale, you come to neutral spine and then dip your hips back toward your heels a smidgen. Now, this one could be hard on the knees, so you don't have to take your hips back far. And as you inhale, you roll forward again into your back bend. And as you exhale, neutral spine first. So you want to broaden that low back and then dip your hips back. So we're not rounding in the upper ribs so much. And this is good if you have osteopenia, osteoporosis, or if you just have a lot more rounding in the upper back and you've been told that it's a little more than you would like to have. And just do a few more on your own, either traditional cat-cow or this variation, which is sometimes called Chakravakasana, linking movement to breath, going nice and easy, exploring and noticing as you go. The next time you draw your hips back toward your heels, bring them back a comfortable distance, be gentle on your knees, lengthen your spine, come up on your fingertips, and lower your bottom to the backs of your legs, not all the way that you're surrendering the weight, but as far as you can go and still be okay in the knees. And this is actually really good for your muscles because I'm shaking here already because I'm not letting my hips surrender. So I'm slightly hovering them. Imagine that your hip creases are drawing back to the wall behind you and your spine super long front and back. And then if it's comfortable for you to come to child's pose, do that now. Take your knees wide and you can rest your head on your hands or a block. You can stay in child's pose or repeat some cat-cowing, or if you'd like to toss in a down dog here, feel free to add that now. So again, your choice, child's pose, some gentle movement on hands and knees, or come to table, tuck your toes and lift yourself up and back into downward facing dog. I don't have a dog, but they have to go out in the evening a little bit too. So take your dog for a little walk here. If you like, you can lift one heel and bend that knee and drip the other heel down to get nice stretch in the calf. Do that on both sides. And then when you're ready, we're all going to meet in the same place. So we're all going to meet in table. So you're in child's pose, you're coming up. If you're in down dog, you're coming down. And then we're going to sit again just for one seated twist. So get your comfortable padding underneath your tushy, and comfortable leg position. You can do the A-frame if you like. We're going to be twisting to your right first. I'm going to do it slowly, setting up my arms slowly, but remember, you can just come into the twist and then bring your arms down. So take your right arm slightly behind you, take your left arm toward your right leg. Don't force the twist. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, wrap your upper chest, the collarbone area, and the upper back over toward your right side. Make sure you're not pulling. If you feel any pulling along your spine or your side, come out of the twist a little bit. Twist can really help to open the back, always important, and especially in the time of, I hate to say it, COVID. So important to be aware of our back body breathing. So dive your awareness into your backyard, into your upper back. And if you like, take a slightly bigger breath here. Feel the expansion of your upper back as you inhale. Take another breath here in the twist, directing it to your upper back. To release the twist, you can keep your arms low and just come forward with the arms slapped by your side, or you can raise your arms up and unwind your spine from there. And again, second side, you can set up the arms with me, or you can just come into the twist and then set the arms. Left arm comes slightly behind you. Right arm over to the left side, but don't let the arm pull you into the twist. Inhale, think that you're lifting the rib cage away from your hips. Exhale, you can condense your core a little bit, but we're really doing a small twist in the upper third of the torso. If you're doing a class with 5 twists, you'll be twisting more and more, but we don't want to feel like we're forcing into the twist. And then just take a few breaths here. And as we did on the first side, if you like, dive your awareness into your upper back. Feel the broadness of your back. This is the widest part of the back, no matter what our body type is, the broadest part of the back, up where the shoulders are and the shoulder blades. And without force, take a generous breath and breathe into your back lungs. And then another breath to your upper back. Maybe this time think that you're breathing into the back of your heart. So back door of your heart there. Sneaking some breath in from the back. And then when you're ready, slowly unwind. If you were cross-legged, it's always nice to take the legs and paddle them. We're going to do one more movement here on the mat and then proceed to standing. We're going to do some lunges. So since we'll be here for a little bit, again, I might even take one since when I practiced this earlier today, it felt fine, but my knees are making terrible popping noises that I'd be very embarrassed if you heard that. So you may want to take a blanket underneath your knees. And since lunges are can be a little challenging on the balance, if you have a handy piece of furniture or a windowsill nearby, that could help. You're going to lunge your right foot forward. So the left knee down and the right foot forward, and scoot that right heel forward so it is a little slightly forward of your knee. And just try to press evenly into the outer and inner edge of the foot. Now, I should point out, just looking at the screen, if you need to be lower, that's fine. You could take 2 blocks or books or pillows and have your hands down on them. That's perfectly fine. If you can, press into your right thigh and lift up, but either one is good. What we're going to do next is the same. So now your right leg is forward, just a little tweak. Chances are your right hip is going to feel higher than your left here. So if you can, roll your right hip down. You could take your hands on your hips like a New York boss and just get the sense that they're even. Take your left hand to the front of your left hip. So feel that open hip like you felt when we were on the mat. And then from here with your arms, either with your chest up or forward with your hands on blocks, shift your hips slightly forward. And if your left arm is free, you can bring your left arm up to enhance the stretch in front of your left side. And as you exhale, come back. And back is shoulders over the hips, hips roughly over the back knee. And just do that a few times, inhaling into the lunge and exhaling back again, since the right leg is forward. Each time you lunge, you might feel the right hip is pivoting forward. I have to kind of hold my right hip back to get it to behave. It's so bossy. The next time you come into the lunge, stay there. I'm going to add a twist here if it feels okay for you. Otherwise, you could just stay in the lunge and maintain that. So first, inhale and lift. And as you exhale, again, take that small wrapping of the upper body toward the right. And then you could stay here, or you can release your right arm right from the shoulder. Don't yank it behind you. Left arm from the shoulder. You could gaze back toward your back arm or forward. You might imagine yourself an archer here. So wherever you want to aim the most, that's where you could look, forward or back. Press the top of your back foot down. Imagine the inner thighs squeezing toward each other. And then when you're ready, inhale, arms up, spin forward, lower your arms down, pause, right hand inside the right foot, take the right leg back. Before we do the second side, that poor left leg, stretch it out. Press through the heel, stretch the left leg out, and then just to be even, do the same on the right. And then lunge on the second side, left hand comes to your right hand, make room for the left foot to cut forward, drag it forward if you need to. You can work with your hands down on blocks and your chest on an angle. Or if you have the balance and stability, come to upright, make sure your foot's a little forward of the knee, even off your hips, front leg hip might be a little forward. If the right hand is free, as you inhale, gently press your hips forward, take the right arm up to enhance the stretch in that leg on that side, in your back leg, in other words. Inhaling into the twist. If the knee is passing your ankle, wiggle your front foot forward a smidgen. Try and keep your hips even from right to left. Looking good from here. The next time you come into the lunge, pause here. Now, if you did the twist on the other side, you can do it on this side too, or you could just stay in the lunge itself. So bring both hands down to your leg. Inhale, lengthen and lift. And as you exhale, take a twist toward your front leg, twisting toward the left. You can keep your hands on your thigh or on a handy piece of furniture, or you could lift one or both arms up. Stretch through the arms, particularly from the elbows to the fingertips. So we don't want to feel like we're pulling the arms out of the shoulder socket. So keep the shoulders nice and snuggly, but reach through those lower arms. Turn your gaze forward or back. Think of the inner thighs squeezing toward the midline to help you find your balance and stability. And then when you're ready, inhale and release the twist, fold forward. We're going to come to standing. So you have a choice. You can come to standing through lunge, or you can come to down dog. So those of you who like to take down dog, come to downward facing dog. Maybe I'll do the lunge version. So to come to standing from lunge, you lift your back foot up, stretch that leg, and then you bring it forward. So either way, we're traveling to standing through either pathway. And while you do that, I'm going to move a few props out of the way and make a little adjustment to the screen. And we're all going to end up in the same place. It's standing up. That feels good. Feel your feet anchor to the floor. Relax your body enough, not so relaxed that you'll be like a rag doll, but that you're not working so hard just to stand up. If you like, close your eyes. We'll be doing some toe stands where you lift the heels up. So I say that because if you want to have something nearby, sorry, my voice is weak today. If you have something you want to hold on to, like a chair in front of you or a wall next to you, find that. So again, standing nice, easy peasy. And then bring your arms forward. Snuggle them into the shoulder joints a little bit, so we're not pulling our arms out so much that we're rounding the upper back. And then take the arms up to the sky. So I don't think you can see my arms here, but the arms are just straight up toward the sky, palms looking at each other. As you inhale, float your heels up. Turn the palms to face the walls on either side of you. As you exhale, lower your arms and let your heels come down. Let the weight settle fully into your legs. So when we're paused, our legs don't have to work that much. When we're lifting up, we do need to find a little energy here. So let's do the feet first this time. As you inhale, lift your heels, squeeze a little bit the part of your buns, the lowest part of your buns and back, and you can reach behind and make sure there's some action there. Think about lengthening from your pubic bone to your belly button, from your belly button to your collarbones. If you like, take your arms up. Inhale here. As you exhale, slowly drag your heels down, but leave your arms up. Pause here. Now, as you inhale, lift your heels up. Take your arms out to the side. Lower your arms down. Heels are still up. Inhale here. Exhale, lower the heels down, but take your arms up parallel and then take them a little wider. So arms are up, heels are down. Feel your feet on the floor. Set your gaze on something in front of you. Soften your jaw. Find your breath if you lost it and all that silliness of lifting heels and feet and whatever, and then float the heels up. They don't have to come up high. They could be up barely an inch. See if you can feel with the heels lifted, that opening in the hips that you felt when we did the lunges. And we also noticed that in the beginning of class when we're doing our leg stretches, one leg at a time. Keep the arms up, slowly bring the heels down. Turn the palms away from each other so the hands are looking to the wall outside. I'm not sure what outside is, but looking to the walls beside you, and push down through the air as you bring your arms down. As your arms come to your hips, take your feet not as wide for a warrior two, but certainly wider than standing. Good. Now from here, shift your hips slightly to, let's see, shift your hips to your right. Shift your hips to your right. We're going to do a little side stretch, but not curving. Now take your right arm up and shift your hips a little further toward the right as your head and shoulders go to your left. Good. Energize that top arm. Relax your jaw. It might feel more comfortable on your neck to turn the gaze down or to turn it slightly up to look past your inner upper arm. You should feel long on both sides. Looks good from here. And then when you're ready, shift your hips back to center. Bring your right arm down, second side. So we're starting by shifting our hips first. So we're kind of like being a little sassy. Then, so we're already allowing ourselves a little bit of a shift. And then we're going to take the upper body up. So the hips go one way, the hips are going to your left now. And you're coming to the right, although it depends what side you did first. So the hips are going one way, the shoulders are going another way. So again, we're stretching the side, particularly the side that's on top, and you can kind of strum your fingertips along those ribs to feel that nice stretch. You can straighten both arms, turn your head in any way that feels good, forward or back, down or up rather. And as you inhale, slide your hips back to center, shoulders come back to center. Step or toe heel your feet to center. We're going to come to a standing forward bend. I'm just going to turn, so if you need a visual, you can see me from this angle. You don't have to turn at all. Feet are parallel. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands to your hips. Fold in those hip creases and come to half forward bend. Half roughly is shoulders in line with the hips. Maybe you're going to be a little higher, maybe a fraction lower. We'll do another one. So if you normally like to go lower or deeper into the forward bend, you'll still have time to do that. Liven up your knees. So you want to feel a little activity in the muscles in the upper thighs above the knees. Keep your spine long, like in table, we want to be long in front and long in back. Good. To come back up, you could slide your arms up your legs, or you could take your arms wide and come up. Excuse me. Hands back to the heart center. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, exhale, release your arms. Inhale, fly your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Swan dive, or just bring your hands right to your hips. Lengthen your spine. If you like, bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your upper chest. Keep your hands in place, but slide them away from each other as if you were sliding the skin a little bit away from each other, so you're getting more space in the front of your chest and encouraging more space in front of the spine. You can bend your knees if you need to. If you want to come a little lower, you can come a little lower, whatever feels right for you. And then when you're ready, slowly come on up. So we've done a few classes where we've done eagle arms. And last week, I didn't get to come back to that. The student who was, I don't know if he's here, the student who was interested in that, but we're just going to do some stretching for the arms, and this involves the upper back as well. So you stay where you are. I'm going to come a little bit closer. I think that will be helpful. So first, take your right arm and reach it in front of the body toward the left. Again, we don't want to feel any pull or yanking. We just want to feel maybe some stretch in the upper arm. You might feel it in the shoulder blade. Now you can cup the elbow with your other hand and stretch that right arm a little bit more, or you can capture the forearm with the elbow and then release and pause. Second side, your left arm, just reach it to the left. Again, no force at all. You can add cupping the elbow and see if that encourages a little more length and stretch, or you can bring the arm into your left arm into your elbow crease and use that to drag the arm a little bit more. And here, as we stretch the arms, we're also creating space in the upper back. So it comes back to that spaciousness in the upper back. And then release that and shake it out. And then one more time, if you want to do the traditional eagle, so those are the various versions you could do. The full version is you'd have both of your arms at right angles. And you would take, in this case, your right arm on top of the left, and you're crisscrossing in the elbow crease. And then if you can, you spiral your lower arms around each other. So I'm sort of peeking forward here. So your arms are straight up and the palms are pressing together. This creates a huge opening in the upper back. But if this is too much, just do one of the other versions and just pause here. This does kind of squish the front of your chest. So if you like, lift the elbows up a little bit, take a generous breath into your upper back. You can play around. You could, if you have the crisscross arms, you can also, I'll show this from the side. You can also take your forearms a little bit away so the hands are not right in line with the shoulders. That might give you a different sort of stretch. Whew. And then when you're ready, notice which arm is on the bottom. So just make sure you're doing the other side. And then unwind your arms and just kind of move your arms around a little bit. Second side, we got the two right angles. So if you did the side I said, just remember which side you are. But this time you're going to have your right arm on top, I believe. Yes, your right arm, left arm on bottom. And you could just do this. You could bring the backs of the hands to each other. Not everyone can spiral the forearms around so the palms face each other. Good. And then once you get there, relax your shoulders. You can lift the elbows up a little higher. You can tip the lower arms away from you a little bit. But most important, breathe. Breathe in through that back door. And then when you're ready, slowly peel the arms open and then just flutter your arms a little bit or stretch them out, whatever feels good. And then come to a wide stance on your mat for warrior two. Let's do warrior two. Spin your right leg out and your left leg in. Even off your hips from right to left. Inhale the arms up. As you exhale, stretch your arms wide and bend your knee. Turn your gaze to that side. Let's come out and back in. Palms up, press into your right foot, straighten the leg, arms overhead, hands to your heart. Take a breath here. One more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Stretch across your arms. Arms alert. You might feel some tensional pull, both legs working. Take another breath here. Turn your palms up. Press into your right foot to help straighten that leg. And back to the start position, parallel your feet. Spin your left leg out and your right foot in, even off your hips. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Turn the palms up. Inhale, press into the bent leg foot, come up to standing, hands to the heart center. Take a breath here. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, warrior 2. Traditionally, we gaze toward our front hand. Maybe you'd like to gaze forward or behind you. Maybe you'd like to point your fingertips down to stretch your forearms. Maybe you'd like to make stop signs with your hands and stretch the forearms, the underside of the forearms. When you're ready, straighten your wrists, palms up, press into your left leg, back to center you go. Hands at the heart center, parallel your feet. One more movement here before we start making our way back to the ground. So let's come back to the first side. Take your right leg out and take your left leg in. We're going to do, what are we doing? Side angle pose, which has the bottom part is in warrior two, and then we add a shift of the torso, and maybe we could even toss in our fancy eagle arm position. We'll see how that goes. You can always have a prop in front of you to hold on to. If you have something lightweight, you can have it right by your right leg, because that's where we're going to be heading in a moment. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, bend the right knee. So we're back to warrior two, right? Keep the knee bent if you can. Inhale, and as you exhale, shift your hips away from your bent leg and tip your shoulders toward the bent leg. Come back to center. If you like, add your eagle arm. So the right leg is bent. So take your right arm on bottom. You don't have to add this crazy arm thing if you've had enough. Inhale a breath here. And as you exhale, shift your hips away from your bent leg and lower your spine. And then from here, if you have eagle arms, you can not straighten them. You'd have to be like rubber person, but you could unfold the arms a little bit here. Now, no matter what your arms are doing, unfold them. Inhale back to warrior two, push the right leg straight. Second side, left leg turns out, right leg turns in. If you like, you can keep your hands to the heart. I did this a few times today, so my arms are going to stay put right here. For now, inhale a breath here, exhale into warrior two. If you like, take your hands to your hips so you could feel the shift of your hips. Inhale, and as you exhale, shift your hips away from your bent leg and lengthen your spine to the bent leg. And then come back to vertical. Then if you like, add the eagle arms, this time with your left arm on the bottom. Inhale, and as you exhale, find side angle pose with your fancy pants eagle arm position. Takes a lot of strength in the lower body. And if you like, you can straighten your arms if they're an eagle, but you could kind of open up the elbow creases a little bit. Take a breath here. And then when you're ready, unwind your arms and either stretch them wide or bring them to your hips. Lift the torso up, press the legs straight, parallel the feet, bring the feet together, shake it out a little bit. We're going to make our way to the mat. We're going to do Cobra Pose. On the way there, if you want to come to downward dog, you can. But for those of you unfamiliar with Cobra, you might just want to stay looking at the screen a moment. I think most of you know Cobra, but the traditional Cobra, make believe them on the mat. Palms are down and the elbows are like this. But if you have wrist injury or forearm injury, you're going to have your whole forearm down like that. So sometimes I see yogis kind of do in between, like elbows a little up. So the elbows are really up or the elbows and the forearms are down. So you could just come right down to your belly or come to down dog first and then lower down to your belly. You may want to take, if your head is sensitive and your ear sensitive, you may want to have a thin blanket or towel in front of you because we are going to lower our head down so you can have some support for the head. So palms down, elbows up, or entire forearm down. Bow your head down. Mine's a little lifted so you can still hear me, but forehead should be down. Stretch your legs long. And remember the pelvic tilt and tucks that we did. Do a little tuck here. So think about bringing your pubic bone toward your belly button. That helps prevent overarching the low back. Forehead light to the mat. Inhale. Lift up into a small cobra. No work on the arms. No weight on the arms. Slowly turn your head to your right and bring your left ear down. So here's where you might need a blanket. Keep your hands where they are. You can let your elbows relax. And remember in the beginning of the class, that idea of your skull being a little watery and the water shifting toward the bottom. Really relax that neck. When you're ready, tuck your pelvis, press your feet down, inhale, back into Cobra, head to center, pause here, reach through those toes. And when you're ready, slowly turn your head. Notice when you turn your head, does it feel a little more freer than it did in the beginning of class? And then lower your bottom ear down, your bottom side of your forehead down, relax your arms, and let the weight of your watery skull, like your water balloon, settle down to the bottom, weighting your head down. Energize your legs, create a small tuck of your pelvis to broaden your low back. Inhale, back up to Cobra, pause here. Now you may be pooped already, so you can come out of it right away if you want to stay in Cobra for another breath or two, or come up a smidgen higher by pushing into your hands a little bit. But make sure the back bend is really all through your spine, front and back, and not sitting in your low back. That's not where we want it. And then when you're ready, lower down completely, crisscross your arms, place your forehead on your arms, bend your knees, and do a little windshield wiper. If some of you commuted today, this might mirror your morning with your windshield wipers on, nice and easy. And then lower your legs down and pause. We're going to shift to lying on our back. I'm just going to stay on the side I'm on. But if you know that you have one way you like to have your head and your feet, feel free to shift the other way. And if you have a strap or a tie, bring that with you. We're going to do one little stretch for the legs, which also helps to stretch the spine before we come to Shavasana. If you feel you're pooped and you want to come to deep relaxation now, you can certainly do that. Bend your knees, place your feet down, right leg up, strap that right leg, stretch it up toward the ceiling. If that's too high for you, bring it out on an angle. If you can, have the leg straight, but don't force it straight. Now that you can see your foot, you'll notice if the big toe side curves in. So we want to be even across the foot from right to left. And now from here, externally rotate your right leg. So spin your whole leg to the right, just a fraction. So it looks like your toes are looking over your shoulder. Take both ends of the strap to your right hand. Take your left hand in front of your left hip. So you can weight that side down. If you like, stretch your left leg out straight. If that's comfortable for you, if it makes you feel very unbalanced, keep the foot bent without lifting your left hip. Send your right leg to the right. Your elbow might come down. Try and relax your right wrist. I could cheat here. I could kind of get my foot to the wall. That's not really cheating. I could use my wall as a prop. You might feel a stretch in your inner thigh, but we're not trying to feel a crazy intense stretch in the inner thigh. Too much is too much. Lois will know that. Teacher we both study with will say that. Too much is too much. Slowly drag your right leg back to center. Switch the strap to your left hand. Now spin your leg the other way. So you're going internally, so the toes are looking now a little bit toward your left. Keep the right hip down and stretch your right leg over to the left. It's not going to go real far because we're going to keep our hips down, making this less of a twist and more of a release for the back. You might get a little shaking on this side. Bring the leg back to center, bend the knee, release, slowly switch legs. Get your left foot in the strap, send your left leg up. You can use a tie. If you don't have either one, you can just use your hands on the leg. So first we're getting a nice long stretch of the leg. And in doing that, we're also stretching in a way, lengthening the spine. Even though you might need to pull down a little bit with your yoga strap to square the foot to the ceiling, and then take a slight external rotation, spinning your whole leg, not just the foot. The thigh is also spinning to your left. If you like, stretch your other leg out. Place your hand on the hip so that you can feel both the opening in the front of that hip and that you can also keep that leg active. Stretch your left leg now to the left. You can place your elbow down. Press through the heels of both feet. Take a breath here. Breathe the left leg straight up. Bring it back to neutral, toes pointing to the wall behind you. Take, that was the buckle of my strap. Take both ends of the strap to your opposite hand. Turn the leg in slightly, internal rotation. This could be really intense. Take your thumb in your hip crease and wrap your hand around that flesh so you can keep, again, both hips down. Try not to let your right leg, the leg that's on the floor, rotate out to the right. Keep that knee pointing up as the left leg crosses over the midline. Bend your knee if you need to. This is pretty intense. And then breathe your leg back to center. One more movement if you like. Keep the strap leg in the strap. Add your other leg in. Take both feet in and then move the feet a few inches apart. So the strap is kind of wrapped around the outer edges of the foot. And just suspend your legs there. Now, this doesn't work for everyone. Sometimes this can put a lot of weight on the sacrum, but it's nice for a few moments at the end of the day to have your legs up. If you don't want to do this here and you'd like to come to Shavasana, you could also do this next to your bed. Have the thighs or the lower legs resting on the bed, or loop your legs over a chair. That's a comfortable height. Have your calves on the chair. And just invite your feet to let go. Our feet do all the walking and all the standing all day long. But sometimes by the end of the day, they're like, oh, they're so tired. So a little elevating of the legs can be a nice thing to do. And you may want to, again, do this again because we need to get a little Shavasana in for class, but you could do a leg inversion on your own afterward. So when you're ready, definitely got to get our deep relaxation in. Remove the strap, bring your legs down, come to lying on your mat. Gather anything you like to be comfortable. You could take a blanket under your head, a blanket on top. Bring your cat and your dog. Lois, go find Gonzo, tell him to snuggle with you. So get something soft and furry and something soft and cozy. Close your eyes, dim the lights if they're available. So we covered a lot of ground. I thank you for your patience. We got in twisting and back bending and forward bending. So even though it was a gentle class, we moved our spine in all directions. In contrast to the day, when we're very busy, no matter how yogi-ish you are, oftentimes during the course of a busy day, a work day, or even if you don't work, you might have family responsibilities, you move your body in, you're moving and you're working, but you're not necessarily moving your spine in all directions, and you're not necessarily moving healthfully. Surrender the weight of your head to the earth. Let go of your limbs, your right arm and your left arm, your left leg and your right leg. Notice how your back meets the mat. Maybe it feels a little more connected to the earth now than it did in the beginning of class. Legs can be straight or bent, whichever feels the most comfortable. Just make sure your legs are no longer walking. Your toes are not gripping. Invite the big muscles and the strong bones of your legs to be soft and buttery. Close your eyes like soft curtains, barely brushing the windowsill, and surrender wherever you can to stillness. Let your breath roll in and out with ease. Easy inhale, smooth exhale. Take a few more moments to soften wherever you can soften, especially if your body has unconsciously started to grip in the jaw or the feet or the belly. Let there be softness. When you're ready, bring your awareness back to your breath. Ride along with your breath, surf your breath for a few rounds and just notice the breath. And to prepare to come out of your little cocoon of stillness. You may want to deepen your breath slightly, or you may just want to start stretching and yawning, or rolling your jaw around, or taking big loud sighs, or whatever feels right at this moment. When you are ready, bend your knees, let your feet find the floor, and ease yourself over to your side. And again, when you're ready, and if you're ready to come back to a seated position, do so. You don't have to. Maybe you just feel you want to curl up for a few more moments. Whatever works for you is good. If you are sitting, make sure you're sitting comfortable and that you're warm. If you like, draw your hands together, tip your heart up to your joined hands, and let the weight of the hands rest against the front of your chest, your heart, bow your head to kind of connect all those places, head, hands, and heart. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Thank you so much for coming to yoga today, and great to see you, and Happy New Year.
Hi, everyone. This is Z from Yonkers Public Library. Thanks so much to Sally Pinto and Alexis and Barbara from Newark. Thank you to our community partners, WJCS, the City of Yonkers Office for the Aging, Westchester County Legislator Ruth Walter, Friends of Crestwood Library, and Yonkers Public Library for making this phenomenal partnership. And we thank each and every one of you for being part of our wellness community. Be well, stay well.